This is a river in the Philippines. After China and Indonesia, the Philippines ranks as the world's third biggest polluter, with 2.7 million metric tons of plastic waste generated each year. That's almost 7,000 metric tons of plastic waste generated per day. Although the Philippines has a high garbage collection rate among Southeast Asian countries, most of this trash is not disposed of properly. This is what your average grocery store looks like. Almost all of the items that you can buy at a grocery store is usually packaged with plastic. From fruits, vegetables, chips, sodas, biscuits, and candy. While plastic is very convenient for the producers and the customers, plastic isn't good for the environment. According to the non-government organization Gaia, 17 billion shopping bags, 60 billion sachets, and 16.5 billion labo bags are used each year. Roughly 20% of the trash generated by the Philippines isn't disposed of properly. Instead, 500,000 tons of trash travel to sewers and waterways until they reach the ocean. In the early 2010s, a new movement to combat this pollution problem started to gain traction across the world. It's called the Zero Waste Movement. This is Bea Johnson. She was credited with starting the Zero Waste Movement. The goal of the Zero Waste Movement is pretty simple. It aims to produce zero waste in our lives by reducing the plastics we buy, recycling as much as we can, and composting everything that we can't recycle. As the Zero Waste Movement started to gain more popularity, a new industry of zero waste stores also surfaced to cater the needs of those who practice the zero waste movement, and to also give customers a more sustainable and eco-friendly place to shop at. This is Croft Bulk Foods. It's a zero waste bulk food store centered in Davao. It was created by Sahara Castile in 2018 with the goal of reducing pollution by eliminating packaging waste in grocery shopping.
For the past 4 years, I have been following a zero waste lifestyle, which involves minimizing and eliminating the use of plastic and other elements that cause pollution in the day-to-day living. After following this lifestyle for some time, it became apparent that although I was living it quite successfully, the restaurant which I was operating, the Vegan Dinosaur, was not. So after a short trip to Sydney, Australia in 2017, I became inspired by the various bulk stores and zero waste options in the city. So on my return to Davao City, and with the opening of a store across the road from the restaurant, the story of the Croft Bulk Foods began. The products that we sell, the best sellers are like typically the nuts, dried fruits, seeds, and the items which people are most familiar with.
The store boasts a wide array of locally sourced products such as nuts like almonds, cashews, hazelnuts, pistachio nuts, and walnuts. They also sell different kinds of pasta like almond keto pasta, charcoal semolina pasta, elbow pasta, mung bean fusilli pasta, and whole wheat pasta. They also sell seeds such as chia seeds, golden flaxseed, omega seeds, pumpkin seeds, and sunflower seeds. They also sell brown sugar, coconut sugar, and pink salt. Their best sellers are the locally produced chocolates such as cacao nibs, dark chocolate, tablea, Malagas chocolate, and coconut spoon. They also sell non-food products such as powdered soaps and liquid soaps and deodorants. These items aren't the only things they sell, as they have a wide array of products and they plan to sell even more products soon. Craft Bulk Foods is a wholesale store, which means to give their customers a cheaper price, they either procure their products in bulk or they produce their products themselves and then they sell their products directly to us, the customers, without a middleman. By buying products in bulk, packaging waste is greatly reduced in the store. A zero-waste store like Craft Bulk Foods isn't like your ordinary store. The products in a zero-waste store isn't packaged separately. Instead, the products are put into individual containers. If the customers want to buy a product, then they simply have to go over to the container of the product and fill their reusable container and weigh the items before paying. Through this method, the packaging waste in the store is significantly reduced to help the cause of the zero waste movement, which is one of the company's goals.
Our company's goal is to continue educating people on the impacts of plastic pollution and give consumers an option where they don't have to create as much waste. Aside from craft, we also oversee a Facebook group called Zero Waste PH. This is where individuals post about how they have reduced their wastage, as well as tips on how to do so.
One might think that due to the eco-friendly nature of the store, it will have a lot of copycats and competition here in the Philippines. But in reality, the idea of a zero-waste store is relatively new here.
As it stands, there are no competitors to what we offer in Davao City. There are companies selling similar or some of the same products packaged but not in the same format. But even with no real industry for what we are doing right now, we are always looking to innovate and bring new and exciting items which we can use in our restaurants and sell to the public.
Due to the recent COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of stores have been affected negatively, and Craft Bulk Foods is no exception.
Due to the travel restrictions, this also affected the importation of goods, and thus we spent a few months without receiving many of the main items which we sell. So, after the main lockdown, the store became rather depleted of stock and has taken some time to build back up to what it was before. Additionally, with the restrictions on domestic and international travel, the customer base has reduced as well as the restrictions on movement within the city. All of these factors have had a negative effect on the overall sales, but in response to those issues, we just had to be patient and wait for some level of normality to resume in order to reorder the best-selling products, as well as waiting for the movement of people to resume so the footfall eventually increase.